Welcome to today's routine. Thanks for tuning in today. Let's start by finding a nice comfy spot on your mat. And let's take some attention to your breath. And before we change anything with your breath, just notice it. Notice where your breath's coming from, how it's moving through your body on the way in, and how it feels as it leaves your system. And slowly and gradually, we're going to shape that breath into a nice relaxing rhythm and shape. And for most people, that means slowing that breath down a little bit, finding a pace that helps you find calm. And once you settle into that nice pace of breath that helps your mind relax, let those relaxing vibes just permeate through your whole body. Our routine today is focused on the hips and the trunk. We'll take a couple targeted breaths. On your next exhale, imagine softening through your quadriceps, through your glutes, your hamstrings. Just let go of any tension and feel those hips sink heavy into your mat. On your next breath, imagine softening through that midsection, your abs, your low back. And just imagine exhaling any stress or tension and mentally going to your happy place. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll start today on the left hip flexor. So let's start with a little searching through that hip flexor on your left side. So we're in around the crease of the hip. And there's a few different muscles that can connect in there. So just do a little searching. Feel out what feels tense, what feels like it needs attention. And then settle into the right amount of pressure and tension to help those tissues start to settle down. And what we're feeling for is pressure release without pain and without any tension building in the tissues around that hip flexor. Just let yourself settle into the right amount of pressure that feels right for today and allows you to stay in a nice state of calm and relaxation. And every chance we get, circling back to your breath, using those nice diaphragmatic breaths, directing that air deep, and breathing through the nose when we can. Let's take one more good quality breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath, and we'll shift to the right side. So feel free to start around the same spot on this side. If you don't feel the same tension, feel free to keep searching. The only real way to know what needs to be addressed is by trying stuff out. And once you found that area, you can try rolling a little side to side or front to back. You can try just hanging out, relaxing on top of it. Just feel out what your body needs today. There are no hard rules in how you do this, other than we don't go into pain. So feel free to keep using this program as your own personal experiment. Find the version of these exercises that work for you day to day, week to week, that help you relax and help you improve your movement. We'll take a few more breaths here and really consciously try to let go of tension. Scan through your body, feel for anything that feels like it's on or tense and doesn't need to be. And as you sigh out that breath, and untense that muscle. Let's shift into the left side TFL. The TFL sits along the outside of the crease of your hip. Go back to your original side. And just follow the crease of your hip out to the lateral side of your hip. Search through that area and feel out what needs attention there. And then do your best to sync that target area to your breath. As that air leaves your body, imagine all your tension leaving your body. Feel that TFL get nice and soft in around that lacrosse ball. Getting as passive as you can. Allowing yourself to be present. Just enjoying some me time. Being conscious to turn off any muscles that are tense. If you're tense in your face, just mentally hit that off switch. Relax through the shoulders, through your feet. And try your best to maintain that nice, calm, relaxing rhythm and shape of breath. Take one more breath here. As you sigh it out, we'll switch to the right side. Let's pan through that right TFL area. It may be tense in the same spot, maybe tense in a slightly different spot. All we want to try to avoid doing is the exact same thing every time. Try to be progressive. Try to do a thorough search to really seek out what your body needs today in order to feel out how this program is going to benefit you the most today. And the only person that's going to know that is you. And every chance we get, circling back to your breath, as you exhale that air, imagine exhaling anything that's tense in around that TFL area. Staying nice and calm and relaxed. And living in your happy place. Let's take one more breath on this side. As you sigh with that breath, we'll shift into a little lumbar traction. We'll do this off the edge of a bench or a box. And as we're settling into this, always be aware of how your body's responding. This is a new exercise. Be easy and go into it slow. The goal of this lumbar traction is to get a subtle, tiny separation between your upper and lower half. Just to give a little bit of breathing room in that lumbar spine and pelvis area. And if you're feeling a lot, if things are tensing up, or you get any kind of pain whatsoever, just ease up on that stimulus. Settle into whatever amount of traction feels right for today. Try your best to keep your attention on your breath. And breath by breath, feel that tension start to sift away. One more breath here. We'll sigh out that breath and move into a left hip internal rotation stretch. So we'll start this seated. And drop your knees off to your right side. Stack your right ankle on top of your left knee. And before we lean into it, make sure your knees are feeling okay. The target here we want is the hip. If you're in this position, you've got strain of the knee, try changing the knee angle. Sometimes a little more or less knee angle will help shift that focus into the hip. And once you've got that right position, just slowly and nice and easy, lean towards your left heel. Attempting to get that left butt cheek flush with the floor. Just be delicate. You don't need a crazy amount of stretch here. Just feel out what feels right for today. let's start to slowly get active through that left heel. Imagine pressing that left heel down into the floor, slowly ramping up that tension as we go. Giving it a good squeeze here for these last 5. 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Imagine pulling that heel up to the sky and lean away. You can actually lift the leg, really squeezing, ramping up tension as we go. Big squeeze here for the last 5. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Nice and passive. Returning to your happy place. Taking a quick scan through your body, feeling out what feels tense, that doesn't need tension right now. Let's take one more breath here. We'll sigh out that breath. And we'll shift to the right side. So just reorienting your legs to focus on that right hip, and then gently leaning towards that right heel. And again, being delicate when we get into this position, that we're not adding any strain or pain into that knee. Our target is on the hip. As always, let the video guide you as a starting point and let your body be your feedback for what this position needs to look like for you today. And again, the target we want is pretty deep into that hip. You should feel a nice subtle stretch through that right hip. Concentrate on getting passive. Turning off any muscle we don't need. And in 10, we will get active here by pressing that right heel down into the floor to resist the stretch. And let's go ahead, starting with nice, easy tension. Pressing that heel down into the floor, reversing it into the floor, ramping up tension as we go. And let's finish with a big squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse that. Pull that heel up towards the sky, ramping up that tension as we go. Really squeezing to fight into that stretch, ramping up that tension to finish. 3, 2, 1. Let's let go of that breath. Get nice and passive. Going through a mental checklist of all those muscles around the hip. Anything that's on that doesn't need to be, your hip flexors, your quad, your hamstrings, your glutes. Just let it all go to sleep. Just submit to that position. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And let's get into tabletop for some bird dogs. Starting from that tabletop, we're just going to extend opposite limbs, reaching with your left hand, right leg, reach back with your heel, forward with your fingertips, keeping the hips square, pause for a beat, and then switch. And we'll keep switching back, but every 3 seconds. We're much more worried about position and activation than we are about reps. So nice and slow, and just feel out a pace that feels right for today. Imagine maximizing the distance between your fingertips and your opposite heel. Keeping those hips nice and square. And each rep attempting to reach a little further into that. Activating through those glutes, through those shoulders, reaching up and away. Let's take one more rep here. We'll sigh out that breath. We'll move into some left hip circles. Let's start by bringing your knee into your chest. Slowly adducting that knee out to the side. Bringing it all along the outer limits of your range of motion until we're in full extension with that heel up to the sky behind you. And then continuing at your own pace. Really feel out what feels sticky today. If anything feels particularly stuck, like it's not going where it should, give a little extra time there. Try to strengthen the tissue in the positions of most restriction. And each rep, just give a subtle nudge a little further into that end range. Generally, the harder we work here for this exercise, the more benefit from the other exercises we get. Let's finish with a big squeeze into that end range, finish off this last rep. Let's quickly sigh out that breath and we'll switch to the right side. Again, starting by bringing that right knee in towards your chest. Slowly adducting that knee out to the side. And just bringing it along the outer limits of your hip range. Finishing with that hip extension, pressing that heel up to the sky. And then starting again. And again, at your own pace. Shaping this exercise to what your body needs today. Each rep, challenge yourself to come a little further into your end range. Imagine trying to carve out new range. As long as things are pain-free, continue to challenge your body into new positions. Let's give a good squeeze here to finish up this last rep. And big breath out. And let's make our way to our plyo box again. Let's just have a seat. We're just going to do a seated bend and twist. Starting with your hands folded across your chest. Knees together. Let's twist as far as we can to the right. And once you've hit your end range, bend as far as you can to the right. And then unbend. Move back to center and go to the left. All the way as far as you can into the left. Finishing with that left bend. And keep working your way through this minute. Each rep, challenge yourself to come a little further into your end range, into a little further axial twist, and a little further lateral bend each rep. It can be helpful to find a landmark. So if you trace where your elbow is relative to your surroundings at the end point, try to come a little further each rep. And again, the harder we make ourselves work through this minute, the better benefit we get. And let's keep chipping away. Again, every rep, challenge yourself to twist a little further, whichever side you're on. And it can be helpful sometimes to give yourself a second push. When you feel like you've hit a wall, just give a subtle push a little further into that range, assuming we're still pain-free. Let's give yourself a good challenge as we finish off this exercise. Really work in those end limits. Give me a good push here to finish up. Let's take a quick breath. We'll sigh out that breath. And we'll move into a puppy stretch. So puppy is similar to child's pose, except we're gonna aim to keep your hips in line with your knees and really target that mid-back. So we'll get a little bit of a shoulder stretch here, but the main target is through that mid-back. Imagine bringing your chin and neck as close to the floor as you can, and do as much thoracic extension as you can without pain. And once we're there, focus on getting nice and passive. Relax into the position. And shortly we will work to get active. And as we get active, imagine starting a sit-up or an ab crunch. Imagine pulling your ribs down towards your pelvis. And let's start nice and easy, activating through that midline with nice easy force, ramping up that tension as we go. Let's give a good squeeze here for these last 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse that. Let's activate through your posterior chain, through that mid-back, actively trying to pull yourself deeper into that stretch, ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here for these last 5, 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Let's get nice and passive. Submit to the position. Run through your mental checklist of any muscle that might be tight. Hit that off switch. Allow yourself to just enjoy this stretch. Let's take one more nice deep diaphragmatic breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath, and we'll call it a day. Thanks for joining us here for some 5-pillar mobility. Hope your hips and trunk are feeling great. Hope you enjoyed the session. Hope you're starting to get some results. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe and comment and tell us what you'd like to see in future videos. Have a great day.